It's 2 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. Your body is tired, but your mind is running a marathon. Tomorrow feels impossible, and the harder you try to sleep, the more awake you feel. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because tonight we're exploring how CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, can finally help you quiet your mind before bed. This simple, science-based approach has transformed restless nights for millions, and it can do the same for you. In the next 20 minutes, you'll learn exactly how CBT for insomnia works, why racing thoughts hijack your rest, and the practical techniques you can start using tonight. By the end of this video, you won't just understand the psychology of sleep, you'll walk away with a personal toolkit for calmer nights and more energized mornings. What you're about to learn will change the way you see sleep, stress, and even your own mind. Sleep problems are a universal problem. 1 in 3 adults reports difficulty falling or staying asleep. The DSM-5 classifies insomnia as a disorder when it interferes with daily functioning for at least 3 nights a week over 3 months. But even short-term insomnia can wreak havoc on mood, focus, and overall mental health. Why is sleep so elusive? Part of the answer is paradoxical. The more we chase sleep, the more it slips away. Our minds get stuck in a feedback loop of anxiety. I need to sleep. If I don't sleep, I'll fail tomorrow. Why can't I sleep? This is where CBT comes in, breaking that cycle by targeting the thoughts and behaviors that fuel insomnia. Let me tell you about Alex, a graduate student I once knew. Every night, as soon as he hit the pillow, his mind lit up like a switchboard, unfinished assignments, conversations from the day, even childhood memories he hadn't thought about in years. The more he tried to force himself to sleep, the more wired he became. When Alex learned CBT for sleep, something shifted. He began to see that his racing thoughts weren't enemies to fight, but signals he could work with. He learned techniques like thought distancing, imagining thoughts as clouds passing in the sky, and stimulus control, which taught him to only associate bed with sleep, not worry. Within weeks, he was falling asleep in under 20 minutes. Stories like Alex's remind us that sleepless nights aren't a sign of weakness. They're a human problem with a scientific solution. CBT for insomnia, or CBTI, is considered the gold standard treatment by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Unlike sleeping pills, which often mask symptoms, CBT targets the root causes. Here's the neuroscience. When we can't sleep, the amygdala, our brain's alarm system, becomes hyperactive, perceiving bedtime as a threat. Cortisol and adrenaline rise, keeping the body alert. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoning, feeds catastrophic thoughts like, if I don't sleep, my health will collapse. CBT interrupts this loop by teaching us to challenge distorted beliefs, reset unhelpful habits, and retrain the body to trust sleep again. Research shows CBTI is more effective long-term than medication, with benefits lasting for years. Let's get practical. Here are 4 CBT techniques you can try. Stimulus control, only use your bed for sleep and intimacy. If you're awake more than 20 minutes, get up and do something calming until you feel drowsy. This reteaches your brain that bed equals sleep. Cognitive restructuring, notice catastrophic sleep thoughts. Instead of, I'll never function tomorrow, replace with, even with less sleep, I've managed before. I can cope. Sleep restriction therapy, counterintuitive but powerful. Temporarily limit the time you spend in bed to match the hours you actually sleep. Over time, this builds stronger sleep pressure and resets your cycle. Thought diffusion practices. When racing thoughts appear, imagine writing them on a leaf floating down a stream. Watch them drift away, instead of wrestling with them. Add simple supports like a wind-down routine, low lights, and avoiding screens before bed, and you'll build a nightly ritual of calm. Here's what to expect. With CBT, improvements often begin within 2 to 4 weeks. falling asleep faster, fewer night awakenings, and feeling more refreshed. But don't panic if your sleep gets worse before it gets better, especially with sleep restriction. That's normal. The key is consistency. Think of it as steering a ship. Small course corrections each night eventually guide you into calmer waters. So here's the essence. Sleep is not something we force, it's something we allow. By changing our relationship to thoughts, habits, and bedtime itself, CBT helps us step out of the storm of sleeplessness and into the calm harbor of rest. Tonight, if your mind starts racing, try this. Breathe deeply, remind yourself, thoughts are just thoughts, and if sleep doesn't come right away, trust that rest will return with practice. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If this video helped, consider subscribing for more psychology-based guides to navigating the mind. And remember, even in sleepless nights, you're not broken, you're simply human, learning new ways to rest.